Everybody's talking about me.
Baby Bid Media.
Everybody's talking about Baby Bid Media.
I hope you've heard the words we're saying, and now it's echoing in your mind.
Beautiful. Don't get sick.
Alright, well that was a bad suggestion.
Shut up and take my podcast.
That
Okay.
was terrible.
That's really interesting. Hello, friends, and welcome to Shut Up and Take My Podcast, the podcast where we look at every single episode chronologically of Futurama and just chat about it. We're starting at the beginning in Season 1, Episode 12.
When aliens attack. Could you tell that wasn't me? There's someone different.
My God.
Wasn't me.
Who was it?
Mixing it up. It's Chris, by the way. I'm here with Sean and James.
Hello.
And I'm Chris. And Sean, why don't you give us a rundown of the episode?
Oh, God. Phone's dropping everywhere.
Oh, goodness.
You do that every episode.
There's technical
I've
problems
only
already.
done it like
I knock
4
my mic
times
every
now.
episode.
Sean, who directed this one?
Yeah, so we got a director, Brian Sheasley, who's back from the series, has landed. So he's landed here in this episode.
Nice.
I'm doing this wrong. I'm getting
wordplay.
it. I'm like looking at the wrong section because he's actually the director for Love's Labour's Lost in Space. And Ken Keeler is back, who does, as we said, he finishes Futurama a lot. But he also did The Series Has Landed. So air date November 7th, 1999, and we got a few introductions.
We do.
We have Lur, and I found out her name, Nda.
Okay.
ND is the queen.
Yeah,
It's in one of the episodes. It's named as Unda.
Because you got Omicron Percy I-8. Percy I-8.
Yep.
And yeah, the first it's considered a catchphrase now. I am Lur. People
I
of
am
Earth.
Lur.
I am Lur.
Yeah, of the planet Omicron Percy.
Yeah, who wants to run down the plot?
Fry, back in 1999, accidentally cuts a broadcast of a TV show, female finger lawyer,
Single female
lawyer, which the people of Omicron Persei 8 were enjoying watching because he did it in 1999 and because the radio waves took as long as they did 1,000 light years away to reach Omicron Persei 8. It happens 1,000 years later that the broadcast gets cut out.
Science.
Yeah, that's the science of it. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. The Omicrons attack, and Fry has to direct the final episode of Single Female Lawyer.
Or they'll all
die.
by being heated.
Yeah, 1,000,000 degrees a day.
For 5 days.
For 5 days.
I'm going to adjust my mic here.
Sure.
Because I'm not happy with how it's situated.
I'm sure some of them will survive the first day.
So there's a lot going on in this episode.
What do we think?
I love it.
So do I.
I really like this episode.
This is one of my favorites from season 1 so far.
Yep.
I just I hark on about this all the time, but this is what I want from my Futurama. And also the notes they're hitting reference wise just soothes my soul.
Yep. Yeah.
Like the Star Wars,
There's a ton of Star
Independence
Wars
Day,
there, yes.
Yeah.
Rogue Squadron, straight up. Fry's wearing Skywalker's helmet.
Yeah, we even see like one of the gunners on the Hubble telescope is actually is one of the guns from the Death
The
Star.
turret, which is shot.
one of
There's a lot
the-
of shot for shot
exactly.
recreations as well.
There's also one of the ships attacking is one of the ships from the Cloud City.
Yeah,
It's
Yes,
blue
it is.
though.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the double.
It's the double
yeah,
thing
yeah.
with the laser.
I forget what they're
like
called.
a bridge thing in between.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they're called.
And probably one that not a lot of people these days will pick up. It actually surprised me how many people don't remember this TV show. Ally McBeal.
Yeah.
Ally McBeal
yes.
was at the height of its popularity at this point because they started they're at season 2 by this point. This is the year, a few months before this came out, they won the Emmy Award for best
Really?
comedy. They
nice.
beat 5-time champion Frasier.
Oh,
So
wow.
Frasier had won 5 years before this, and Ally McBeal topples them. To put it into perspective, like the only show that wins 5 years in a row is Modern Family.
Yeah.
And the show that tops them is Veep, which was just recently. So yeah, Ally McBeal is at the top of its game at this point, and it's also quite controversial for a lot of the reasons that this Futurama episode picks apart.
Yes.
Highly sexualized environment. They do have unisex bathrooms. She does wear short skirts. There is a lot of sex involved, and it's all so this is a very timely reference.
Yes. It's a good episode because it doesn't necessarily, like, even if you don't know the reference, you still appreciate what they're kind of tackling.
Yeah.
Like
those kind of TV shows.
Yeah,
as well.
you understand that they're picking apart those episodes. They're not just like saying like, oh, there's this show with sexy female lawyer. It's like actually like it's taking apart the whole show and like deconstructing like,
Yeah.
is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Even like Lur's comments towards the end where he's like, why doesn't she just rip the head off? Like that's actually like a thing, like from a whole like discourse thing of like, how do we approach like women writing characters or women protagonists?
Yeah.
How do we empower women?
Yeah.
Is it appropriate for them to be sexualized? Is them not being sexualized like a bad thing? You know, like there's the whole debate, and they like touch on this in a really clean and good way.
And also a TV show that is very popular at the time.
Yeah.
They're going, this is what people want.
Yes.
This is what is in now at the moment.
Yeah.
And this is what people always want with all of their shows. Like Fry is the kind of character who loves the, you know, when lions attack children, like those kind of TV shows.
yeah.
Like that's his jam, really. So yeah, it's interesting to tackle this.
Yeah, it's a great episode in my opinion, because we get to spend a bit of time with all the characters. Mm-hmm. And because it's late in the season, it's the second to last episode in the season, we don't have to spend time exploring their characters much at all. No.
Everyone gets little moments too.
Yes.
Zoidberg gets his scuttling around. Hermes is still taking off all his clothes.
Yes.
Which I love. He's just so ready to decant
Yep.
himself. Farnsworth gives me some of my favorite lines in the entire episode.
Amy is klutzy and gets naked.
And they're still introducing new world-building technology,
Totally.
like the clothes in a spray can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nibbler is in there. It's, you know, like
Nibbler's back. Is he back? I can't...
He's back, yeah.
Yeah.
He eats Amy's bra off.
as in, like, has he been in the past few episodes, or has he been
Not
absent for a
really,
little
not
bit?
really,
He's
no.
been pretty absent, so
Yeah.
it's a good return to like the main cast.
Well, it's because he doesn't really leave Earth.
That's right.
In the past few episodes, we've been on the Titanic and at Mars University.
In Mars, that's true.
And
yeah.
the good thing about this episode is we actually get like a deconstruction of like a show or something in popular culture, and actually they go into it and they fully commit to one thing
Yes.
rather than like doing half.
And we get another amazing introduction of a character, Lur.
Yeah.
Interesting to note is we get Linda, the news anchor,
Yes.
but not Morbo.
We don't get Morbo.
Which they
get
do
Linda.
deliberately because too many aliens.
Yep.
Basically, they're saying, you know, when they've got such an alien-centric episode, and Lur and Morbo are quite similar regardless.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, they're both green,
yelly, scary
yelly.
alien.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, that's why he's absent from that. We get President McNeil,
Yep.
who will
season.
die to give way for another president somewhere
Hooray.
down the line.
President Nixon.
And Zap
Yeah.
Brannigan.
Yeah, of course.
So
Which-
much Zap this season.
Yeah,
More
he's-
Zap than I remember, but
yeah, in the first season particularly. And we get now that I'm just starting to realize it, he's come back from another victory from
the pacifists of the Gandhi Nebula.
the Gandhi Nebula. We'll just go into it. Favorite moments.
Oh, there's so many to pick from. Definitely one of my favorite moments is the Monument Beach.
Yeah.
Yes.
How
that's very
like
good.
you get to have what they get to do, and it's really clever, is they get to have what we've equated to worldwide destruction, you know, homages to Independence Day, blah 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 blah. You get to have worldwide destruction in a localized spot.
Yeah.
It's really clever.
Yeah.
It's really smart to do that.
But even like the mention to like the supervillain governor.
Yeah.
Like stole all like the world world wonders.
Already, I want to start making a timeline of all the times they mention years. And what happens in those years, like the second coming of Christ.
Yeah, the second
That's a
coming of
good one.
Christ is in
all
there.
the VHS tapes were destroyed somehow.
Except some.
Yeah.
Most. Because they still find that 20th century porno. Sorry, keep going.
I don't know. The second coming of Christ line is one of my favorite lines, like in the series.
The most sacrilegious line.
It's great. And then, yeah, it's just a really... I'll be honest, my favorite part about this episode is watching all of the Futurama crew relax and be kind of casual and just have a good time with each
Yeah.
other. Like just enjoying each other's social lives. Like that to me is fun. That's nice. It's
and you know
good.
you know what you're getting? You're getting them, even if it's just subtly for one joke, you're pairing them off differently.
Yes.
Amy has a bit with Farnsworth.
Yeah.
Bender has a bit with Zoidberg in
Yeah.
the water.
And it breaks him out of like a little lobster jail.
Hermes and Bender.
Yeah, we don't see that. We
Yeah.
don't see that much at all. We get to see it. We get a Fry Leela relationship development stumbling block thing,
Yep.
and it pays off with a great kind of like Leela propositioning a guy, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm actually gay."
Yeah,
like bolts.
Like for the late 90s, for like a character to be like, I'm gay.
Yeah,
That's a lot right there.
And you know, it wasn't it wasn't like a big joke. It's just, sorry, I'm gay, left. That's it.
Just left. That's it.
Yeah.
She's like, not out of annoyance that he's like gay, just disappointment that's like, I
it is
can't
what
find
it
a man.
is.
Yeah. I thought that was very good. Yeah.
My favorite episode is just another episode. My favorite moment is Farnsworth reading the cue cards of his death
yes,
scene.
that was
He's
good.
like, just read it. It's like, I can't marry you because I'm dying. Cough, cough. Falls down dead, and then he just leans back.
My God, he's dead. Checks his pulse.
He's like, oh God. Yeah, and he's just like the look on his face, that kind of just smug,
he's like,
I'm done. It's like,
satisfied at a job well done.
complete.
Yeah, and he like checks his pulse and to see if he's dead.
Yeah, so good. I loved a lot of Zach Brannigan stuff. Like when he's saying, "It's like there isn't a man I haven't there's never a man I haven't met and killed, and if there is, it's because I haven't met and killed him yet."
Yeah,
I thought that was a lot of fun. I don't know, just like the whole like the making of Single Female Lawyer. Even the name, like I know it's like Ally McBeal, but there is a movie from the 90s called Single White Female.
yeah,
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's like just the title in itself. I'm like that's a great parody. Just take that title and run it.
Well, that's why it has such great lasting power, is the idea of single female lawyer. Like you know what it's referencing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like not even like the direct reference, you know that it's a joke on the shows that put everything in their title.
Yeah.
You know, like Scrubs. Scrubs is a great show, but it's like, it's about doctors. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, or Friends. That's it.
Modern Family.
Yeah,
Modern
modern
family.
family.
Yeah.
It is about a modern family.
Yeah.
Like, and it doesn't ever deviate from that. There's no change. And that's
It's the status quo.
People
Yeah.
know exactly what they're gonna get.
and that's what Fry ends with. Was like, people don't want to be challenged, or
Yeah, that's another
They
thing.
get
that
surprised.
they get
Yeah.
scared.
if you push them too far.
That's what a lot of stuff. That's like a moment I really like as they're making the show. It's like, no, they don't want anything to change. Basically, they want like characters to be like the same.
Yeah.
Like no surprises, no shocks,
And
a
it
bit
is
of character
interesting.
development, but nothing too
Because that
serious.
happens with TV shows in general. When you
Yeah.
hear about shows jumping the shark, a lot of the time you'll find is that it starts, you get a perceived dip in quality, and a lot of people will turn off shows when they make a big change to the show.
Yeah.
Like a massive change. Like Archer does it, for example, very well.
Archer does.
Archer, like this is one time when it is received well, where we go, okay, we've done this for 5 seasons. Now it's completely changed the setting. And a lot of the time this occurs and people go, oh, wait, no, you're not sticking to what we know and what we love. And
Well, the jumping of the shark was like a contradiction.
yes,
Jumping the shark is a contradiction in the setting. So you know where the jumping the shark. You know
Yeah,
where
it's
that
like
comes from.
like Happy Days.
Happy Days.
Fonzie
Happy Days.
The
literally,
Fonz
literally
jumping
jumped the
a
shark.
shark because
Yeah.
they've run out of ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the reason why it's such a problem isn't because it's necessarily a silly thing. It's because before that, in previous episodes, he jumped a car or a gorge on a motorcycle, and then the family had come in and been like, "You're never doing anything dangerous again."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're right. I won't ever endanger my life. I'm never going to do anything that dangerous ever again." And that's why it's a problem. Not necessarily because it's so dangerous, but because he removes all character development for a quick storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This show, Futurama, does a great job in this episode of like deconstructing TV.
But this is honestly the kind of thing. It's I because as well is that I'm at a point where I start to see movies in particular coming out that get received very well. And I just look at them and I go, but this is the same thing that has come out for years on end.
People don't want different.
Because
they want the same.
there are formulas that just apparently work, but then when I look at them, I go, but it's the same.
Yeah.
It's like I'm looking at it. You are just taking out a different ingredient that looks like something different, but it's still the same. You're just changing character names. So this is like an episode where I go, yes, like I'm happy that you're bringing this sort of thing to light. Because
any episode where like Futurama talks about like how we act as a society, or especially how we perceive television or like film, or and how it affects our lives to the point where we become obsessed with it and rely on it, and we don't want anything to change, but that in itself we don't change.
Yeah, I mean, Futurama and The Simpsons as well are best when they're deconstructing society, and they're funniest when they're doing that. And this is a great deconstruction.
And how relevant they still are.
Yeah.
In Futurama's case, over 15 years later.
Yeah.
In Simpsons' case, longer.
Yeah, well, nothing changes with television.
Well, that's the sad thing, is that wouldn't it be great if it wasn't relevant anymore?
Yeah.
Is that we could be like, back in the 90s and the noughties, this was a real problem, but thank God they changed it and TV's evolved. It's like, well, it hasn't, has it?
We'll get an Ally McNeil reboot.
Beal.
Probably.
Ally McBeal. Oh my god.
We probably will. I mean, we have seen small changes in TV stuff, like HBO is great.
I was going to say HBO, Netflix, like Showtime, AMC, those kind of pioneering channels that are, especially one thing that has happened a lot more prolifically over the past few years is Americans adopting that British model of television of shorter seasons, with emphasis on quality. Because
and episode length.
Sitcoms used to pump out 24 episodes, and I, as a kid, was in the mindset of more episodes, better. There's more things I can digest.
If I see something of 24 episodes, I worry straight away. If I see 10, I'm like, okay.
You know, I was worried when I first started Breaking Bad years ago. Where I was going, there's only like 10 episodes. How much can they do in a season? Watched it. Ate my words. Cool. Now every time I see like, please be less than 13.
Well, it's all because like that change in television where I guess online has had like a big impact on it, but it's mainly like the money that's put into it. And we can probably go back to Lost. Lost's pilot.
Careful when we're talking about Lost. I still haven't finished Lost.
Lost's pilot, I believe, was at the time the most expensive episode ever made.
Yes.
And everyone watched it. Everyone was obsessed with Lost. And then I think they realized that if you put money into it, and if you had the same quality like cinematography and directors and like the cinema would have, you will get people watching your shows.
I think shows like The Wire and The Sopranos capitalized on that a lot as well, and kind of hit home the idea of, particularly for writers, the idea of character-driven narrative as opposed to just event-driven stuff. Like sitcoms are event-driven. Like the situation changes.
It's
situation
like,
comedy.
What's happening
situation
this
comedy.
week?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas continuous narrative has been piloted by HBO, it has been spearheaded by HBO. So we get great shows like The Wire and The Sopranos.
And you get further longevity out of them, because you look at something like Breaking Bad, small seasons, 6 seasons, in, out, done. 6, 7?
6 seasons.
It is 6 seasons.
5 seasons.
No, I've got at least 6 DVDs in my room. But anyway,
I don't think it's not 7. It's definitely not 7.
And then you get series that have longer episode lengths, and they just lose their quality so much quicker. Like like I take House, for example, or Scrubs. By the time they hit, halfway through their run, there's a significant dip in quality.
Yes.
Dexter, same way. A lot of these shows, they get 3-4 seasons out. Breaking Bad, for example, takes the model of, we can have a shorter episode length, we have a clear idea of where we want to start, where we want to end. Lost is actually the same way. Even if you talk about Lost losing quality, they had a clear idea of where they wanted to start, how they wanted to end, and they were going to do it in 6 seasons. That was always their plan.
Then things got funny with Lost.
Yes.
Let's talk more about the episode, though. Are there any points that you felt any missed opportunities?
Lur's wife.
Yeah, Unda.
She has a joke where it's like, it's true. Men are from Persei. I didn't laugh when I was a kid, and I'm not laughing now.
And I've never found it funny. And you know what? Also, it's delivered slowly. You see the joke coming from the first word, and if you're not digging it, that joke just falls even flatter. And
you've got to do the next 5 seconds of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but can we unpack the joke a little bit? What is it? I know dissecting a joke is like dissecting a frog. Once you've done it, you can't put it back together and it doesn't really live anymore. But the joke itself isn't funny because it's a reference to something that we already know, and it's not a joke. Men are from Venus. Men are from Mars. Women are from Venus. It's not a funny saying.
I feel like they tried to get the humor from it that, like...
Universally, we still have this.
Like, in the 90s, that would have been a popular thing to say.
Yeah.
Whereas now, we are so saturated with it, it's become almost a cliche for someone to say that.
I would disagree, and I would say that the aim of the joke, because you see it a lot in the staging of it, is that they're trying to run with the idea that the Omicronians, are average Americans.
Yeah.
Like in The Couch, and they're big and kind of overweight in later episodes and blah, 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 blah. I think they're almost going for like a nanny sort of thing. It's like the annoying, or not the nanny, but Married with Children sort of line.
Yeah.
Like it's that sort of thing.
Yeah,
like it is another TV reference almost within the episode. Like that's the tone of it.
Yeah.
I think it just misses because we haven't been set up enough to have the idea of like them as a married couple kind of infighting. If they'd done it, I reckon it would be funnier had they had it on the couch. The opening of the episode, they're on the couch. I think if you put them there it might actually be funnier.
I would still kind of disagree. I just didn't like the joke and the delivery, and I think you can still get that effect with a different joke. I don't know what that joke
I would
is.
have liked if she said it a bit faster, and then after she finished, there was a laugh track on the TV.
Yeah,
that might have been.
Yeah,
and
something
then
like
it would have
that.
been like, oh, there's the funny moment.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
the family
Because
show.
it's not
that's
funny.
actually
That would have bumped it up
Yeah.
a little.
that's
and
the way to do it, actually,
Yeah.
mate. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Any done moments for you, Sean?
Well, for me, I mean, this is
moments?
just me. The cocktail one, the cocktail joke with Bender.
Oh,
I think.
where he
Like, it's one of
loses
those
his
jokes
martini?
where they did it once and then they went back to it.
Yeah.
And then went back to it. I was like, one of those jokes that fell flat. There's a joke that comes on later in the season as well that does a similar thing. You could get it done more efficiently if you have to have it in there, and they just keep coming back to it. And it just didn't register that well for me, and it was just kind of unneeded.
Not a huge fan of when they're playing volleyball and Zoidberg stabs the volleyball and it's like, oh, it's happened like 20 times and he scuttles off into the ocean. I was just like,
Really? I like that one.
I didn't mind him.
I don't like...
I did like the bit when Professor gets hit in the face by a volleyball. Physical gag.
Yep. I wish, because I like Farnsworth doing this, I wish he hadn't have fallen over, or she just hit him in the head and he did his ow!
Yeah.
Like the angry owl.
And then he's like,
yeah.
and then I just put
Delayed reaction.
Delayed reaction. Sorry that they can't see what
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Yeah, can't see audio.
I didn't like the Hubble telescope line.
Yeah, it's tough because it doesn't look anything like it.
And also it's attacking them back.
Yeah.
defense telescope.
Because I was thinking about that after the first viewing, and then I was like, oh no, maybe it didn't attack them back.
No, it
so
does.
maybe then
It
I'm like,
was
no,
attacking,
ships
yeah.
blow up,
It does.
and there's a turret, and so
Yeah.
why does that?
If only there was something better.
Or
Yeah.
just say that was the cargo ship or the transport, like something that's not a fighter ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
It doesn't need to be a big gag. Just be like, no, that was the laundry ship. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
something that's
Yeah.
not
Even for
an
me,
attack
like,
ship.
I never saw the wide shot of the ship. I never saw that it looked exactly like it. So we could have made that mistake. And then it cuts to wide, just like, oh, it just happens to be a telescope, and they just attacked it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rather than just be like, it looks just like it. I can understand their mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, also another favorite moment of mine because I forgot it. Farnsworth, getting the new crew because
Yes,
he thinks it's all the
I
crew's
do
dead.
like
And
that.
I think that's great because it deconstructs the TV show that they're on.
Yeah.
We
We need this character. We need this character. We need this character.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll be the drunk. Oh, no. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
jet back in
And
3
then they
days.
come back. It's like, oh God, you're alive.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God,
God,
you're alive.
Yeah, because the whole episode, I've talked about in previous episodes how like an episode I don't like or won't have like a strong tone or theme. This one does. It's about TV.
And it doubles down on it.
stays on TV.
Yeah.
Even the Omicronians are like almost like it's the height of like the X-Files and sci-fi. Of course it's aliens.
Yeah.
Fry's line is like, Fry, this is real life, not TV. Can't you tell the difference? It's like, yeah, I just like TV better.
Yeah.
It's in HD.
Yeah.
While he's doing Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all these things. Like, it's everything they do is surrounded in references,
Yeah.
deconstruction of TV shows and movies that also further the plot and makes
Yeah.
sense with what
Yes.
they're doing. Everything ties together perfectly, and the characters get their moments,
Yeah.
and it's humorous, and it's saying something.
And great ending. It's like the secret TV. It's like at the end, like everything stays the same.
Yep.
Like
Everything's
York.
on fire.
New York.
New York
Dead.
is on fire.
Yeah.
And that deconstructs TV further.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. It doubles down on it.
And this is why, at the moment, based on season 1 so far, Ken Keeler is my favorite writer.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's my favorite writer so far, and I think I'm going to enjoy every time I see his name pop up week to week.
I will get excited when I see his name.
I forgot a joke that I like. It's
Yeah.
the mating joke.
Oh,
The Farnsworth keeps bringing out.
I'm beginning to think there'll be no forced mating at all.
He still had so much hope during like all the invasion.
How do we think this stacks up against Hella's other robots? I'll start off if you like.
Go for it, man.
I'm for this episode. It hit. Maybe I'm just in like a mood for Star Wars at the moment, a mood
Maybe.
for science fiction and
Sure.
references. But it's also I'm seeing a lot of the character developments going for. I'm seeing different characters interact with each other that I haven't get yet. Certain pairings that haven't come. I've got another secondary recurring character that I really thoroughly enjoy. And I'm excited to have him and her back because I know where they go later.
Yeah.
And it's funny. All the references, for the most part, still register and
Yeah.
still stick.
Totally.
So, yeah, I've got When Aliens.
Yeah, I'm going to second that.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, Chris.
No, that's fine.
Look, you got some great references, and we the last 2 episodes they basically did like
Homage.
homages this. They didn't like deconstruct anything, and
No.
this is what I've been waiting for 2 weeks now.
A deconstruction.
A deconstruction,
Yeah.
rather than an
exactly.
homage.
Yeah.
And we finally get it, and like we get
References with a reason.
references with a reason,
commentary
Yeah.
on things that they're talking about, not
Yeah.
just little tweaks and nods to it. It's like,
Yeah.
who cares about that?
It's like, why
actually talk about the
why
thing.
bring it up? Like,
Exactly.
you have the power to talk about it. Let's talk
Yeah,
about it.
absolutely.
And them actually doing it is just really entertaining. And you had great jokes talking about TV and how it affects our lives and how we don't want anything to change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
talking about TV through the medium of TV.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter, but my vote goes to Hell is Other Robots.
Duh.
There always has to be one.
Yeah, sorry. I love this episode. I really do. I just love Hell is Other Robots a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because is Hell your favorite of season 1 so far?
Yes.
Is that,
Hell is my favorite of season 1. Just full stop. But
Your eyes like rolled in the back of your head. And you're
I'm just thinking. I think my eyes went from left to right.
Yeah.
I was looking up. I'm not a demon.
So like 1,000,000 degrees in here.
It is really hot. Yeah, I mean, this episode takes the whole crew and then splinters the main 3 to further the plot and then returns them and then returns them back to the whole crew. So, I mean, as far as like focusing on the whole group, I think it's incredible. I think it's a really well written episode. I like Hella's Other Robots because it has the Beastie Boys.
True.
Truthfully, this episode is like very close.
Okay, like we'll change this episode. Instead of like remaking Ally McBeal, they had to finish a Beastie Boys song.
This one would win. This one would win. If it had the Beastie Boys in it, it would win.
Where do you guys think we're going with the impressions today?
I would say Lure.
It is Lure.
Lure.
It is Lure.
Yeah, great.
Bring me McNeil.
That's really good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I can't do anymore.
This is not McNeil. Bring me McNeil.
We must now return in time for 1,000 years of Leno monologues. Oh, that hurts to do.
I did it. You really constricted.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. You
That's where I thought it had to go.
You
But
don't
it
have to
doesn't.
go that far.
It
no.
doesn't.
Put a lot more air through. I think it's a bit more breathy. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe like in a few years, like no one will know who Jay Leno is.
Yeah, the Jay Leno one might.
Yeah, I feel
fall
like
off.
that one's gonna die.
Oh
before
yeah.
the Ally
Well, I mean,
McBeal.
and if you take Australians in general, we don't really have much of a culture of late night television.
We don't.
no, we don't. But like,
We had Rove.
Yeah, we had Rove.
That was
and
it.
That
Yeah.
left, and Rove is now in America trying to
Yeah.
do. I don't know if he
He's
still
back in
is.
Australia. He does a radio show.
Oh, okay. Well, that shows how in touch I am with Rove.
Yeah, he did really
TV
badly.
Used to show Conan O'Brien
Still does.
normal TV.
Yeah.
Really?
So
'Cause I swear
I
I
haven't
used to
watched
watch it
Gem
on
in a
there.
while, but at one point we had
That's what I thought.
we had Leno, Fallon, Ferguson, and Conan on at the in the same period of time.
I would watch Ferguson every single
And
night.
you could
So would
flip,
I.
and you could flip
Yeah.
between them. I've always been a Conan guy. I followed him.
Yeah.
I
I thought Conan was always one of the tops.
Yeah,
he was my favorite until Ferguson.
hate
came
Leno
along.
and I hate Fallon.
I like
Fallon's not funny.
And
I like Fallon.
I hate him so
He's
much.
better than Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers, I've only watched his monologues, and I kind of enjoy his monologues.
I don't mind him.
Yeah, like
I just hate Leno.
I don't like Corden.
Yeah, even as a person.
I dislike Leno. I would punch him in the face if I
Yeah.
met him.
Leno's been involved in 2 late night wars now.
Yeah.
He screwed over Letterman. No, wait, who are we talking about?
Jay Leno.
Leno. Leno's screwed over Letterman and he screwed over Conan.
Yeah, he's a
I
dick.
also don't find Letterman funny.
Letterman's not funny. But he has such a long run, and like it's strange that like he openly admitted to cheating on his wife and being involved in a blackmail scandal
Yep.
on air.
Really?
And nothing happens
Yep.
forever. He does not lose his show or anything.
You know why? Because after he talks, then Schaefer just goes, "Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
is
you
true.
cheated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
cheated.
cheated.
Yeah, was it good? Yeah?
You cheated.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cheated. You
Yeah.
cheated. Boom, cheated. I hate him so much.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Maybe we should.
Whoa!
We should maybe finish the episode and then talk about
Remember, usual plug. Baby Beard Media.
babybeardmedia@gmail.com or babybeardmedia www.facebook.com/babybeardmedia.
I don't know what the URL is, but just search Baby Beard Media.
Media.
Check us out.
Because we could choose it. So.
You might get some prizes. Maybe some
Non-physical prizes. But I'm sure
Yeah.
we could
We
work
might
something out
we
digitally.
might give you a shout out.
Yeah, we could do that.
And you know, if one day we have a Patreon account, which will, we're on iTunes. Clearly, we're on iTunes because that's the way it works. But as of the time of this recording, we're on iTunes.
Yeah, we you guys don't know this, but we only just today got on iTunes. So for all those listening and are like, wow, these guys have been on iTunes for so long, it's like, yeah, we only just as of today got on iTunes.
Yeah.
So are we from the future?
We're from the past.
We're from the
Yeah,
past.
we're from the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work out without.
Damn it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're from the. How do we do that?
No.
We have to broadcast to Americans live,
Okay,
and then we're in the future.
Damn it.
Because our time stream is ahead of theirs.
You need to send us out.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I've been Chris.
I've been James.
I have been Sean.
Thanks for listening, and tune in next week when we have the last episode of this season. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. Fry in the Slam Factory.
All right, guys.
All right, see ya.
Bye now.
Bye, lovelies. Ready to go?
What's that shark in a mall, in a flooded mall?
The one that has our very own Xavier Samuel. They're stuck in a shopping like a Woolworths basically.
Yeah, it's flooded.
But
There's
it's
a shark
flooded,
in
and
it.
because it's flooded, there's all sharks in the water.
Fucking
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And you know, they're Simpsons, everyday Simpsons.
Yeah. What do you mean? Are we going to release this on? What are we?
Good on you, James. You got there in the end.
I was trying to are we releasing? This?
Are we releasing podcasts?
Sean,
Yeah,
what's your favorite website to go to?
I like Google.
Okay.
No, Baby Beard Media.
Sorry, zany things. Jugga booga.
Zayn from One Direction.
Is that? Oh,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Billy.
He's Billy Zane.
Billy Zane.
Undertaker and Zane.
Heading to.
In Zane.
Yeah.
In Membrane.
I mean, this is all gold.
We live in a world where every adjective is replaced by Zane.
Adjective?
Adjective is replaced by Zane.
No,
verb.
maybe every noun, verb, and adjective.
That would just be Zane.
Zane. Smurf effect.
Oh my God, I hate the Smurf effect.
Oh, this just makes me want to watch the Smurf movies.
Makes me want to Smurf. Get your hands up and Smurf.
Hank Azaria
Smurf.
plays
the guy catcher dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grindelwald.
Yeah.
Grindelwald.
What?
I don't know.
Is Grindelwald?
That's from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I don't care.